Okay, guys, it's very nice to meet this powerful player. Nice. My congratulations to you because you are already going to the World Championship. How it was? It was difficult. It was nice. It was luck. What can you say about this?
It was super difficult, but it was super amazing too. Really long way, but I'm super happy that I made it.
A lot of people right now talking that you are #1 in the world. What can you say about this?
Well, I actually hate to say a lot about myself. I'm just really happy with all my performance. I'm happy that all the time and the practice and everything I spent into it, that it just pays off, and I hope I can continue the streak I have now.
Yeah, also my hope. um, what can you say about your career in when you was starting? What is your decision? Okay, this is my game. I will choose it and I will play it. When you realized that you can be a professional player in Hearthstone? 1 year ago, 2 years ago, it was like a decision, or
it actually came slowly. I always loved to play some games, and I was somebody that liked some strategical games. And when Hearthstone came out, or it was in the beta, I just loved playing it. And after some moments, I just started to play some online tournaments. And yeah, when that went really well, and I get some notice and some invites, it actually went really fast, and I could never even imagine that I would become a pro player. But yeah, I think 1 year ago it was at DreamHack Summer. It was really my big step into the scene.
Well, it was like a let's try for fun, or let's try to be a pro.
It was play for fun, and at some moment it started to be let's just play it competitively. And after playing it some competitively, I was like, yeah, I'm actually pretty okay or pretty good in the game. And then I realized I should, if I take more time into it and spend more time into it, that might even work out really well.
Okay, what about time? If you have time, how many you can spend it in the day by your game? 8 hours, 10 hours, all the day. For example, you're training on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What about Hearthstone in your life, in the time of the day?
It's at this moment, Hearthstone is my hobby. I love it. It's also kind of my job. So at the moment, I'm really focused on Hearthstone. And normally, when I'm streaming, like I stream a lot too, and then I'm practicing. But besides that, when there are big tournaments coming up, I really want to be prepared, and then I'm really make sometimes just whole days happening of practice. Just doing it well, because I think it's really important after every hour taking a small break and be healthy, take some fresh air sometimes. But my mind is always there.
But it's important, I think, to make breaks, to have like a walk on the streets, to just keep your mind clear. How many breaks in a 5-hour session you have to do? You always do. 5-hour session, and what about breaks?
It depends a bit. If there is no tournament coming up, I'm also playing a lot for fun and just having fun with cool decks on stream. When I'm really preparing for tournaments, I really try to just learn as much. And you don't learn just from playing alone. It's just really good to sometimes analyze your plays, talking it over with your teammates. And yeah, I think if you just take a break every hour, and it doesn't have to be big, like just take a drink or get some food or take some fresh air is already enough.
So there is no secret system?
No, well, not that. Maybe some others have, but I don't really have a secret system.
Okay. What can you say about these updates from Hearthstone? A lot of people said that it's too often. It's too often. We have BlackRock after that in a few months. It's a big tournament, and what can you say about this? Is it positive? Is it useful for game and for all of the community? Or maybe we have to wait for a while.
I think it's pretty important that there are coming new cards or coming new expansions. Otherwise, at some moment, everything is just totally optimized, and with new cards, new decks, new expansions, there are just new things happening. And if you put a lot of effort in that, then you might get an edge. So I think it's really healthy for the game. It will also get boring if there are just always the same decks, and that only reason to really stop that is by changing cards or getting new cards in.
Because you can just find something new in this game, and maybe. Okay, another way. Have you friends who watching on you, looking on your success on Hearthstone, start to play and just come to you and say, "Hey, would you teach me to play this game?"
I have some people in the Netherlands that will really appreciate it if I come to the big events. At the moment, it's really hard for me because it takes a lot of time. I'm traveling a lot, so I try to make something happen in the Netherlands too, to make esports a bit bigger. But and that's something that is also a bit new for me. I really have to sometimes just say no because it's really hard for me to make the time for everything.
Okay, after your success here, after you understand and realize that you are going to USA, who was first person who congrats you?
My team manager Lothar came to me and congrats me by winning.
Maybe your friends, your parents, or...
Yeah, well, actually, I had so much people that congrats me. So yeah, my parents are also watching and really supporting everything I do. So that's really cool.
What about them, by the way? How can they understand that you're playing a computer game, that you're playing video game, and you right now are participating in championship of the world? How they support you?
At the start, it was new for them, and it was actually also new for me, and I didn't really know how everything will work. But at the moment, they see that I'm happy, they see that I like what I'm doing, they see that there is no risk involved, and that I'm just really happy at the moment, and that's the most important thing for my parents. And they see that I'm happy, so they are really hoping that I can just enjoy it as long as I can.
And this is very important that you know that somebody really supports you. Okay, I know that you qualified for start of the season. You will come to Ukraine, to Kyiv. What can you say about this tournament?
Yeah, it's the second season now, and yeah, I made it twice out of the groups, and I'm actually really happy. I've never been in Ukraine, so I'm also I'm always also a bit interested in how the city and the country and the culture is. So yeah, I hope you can show me some cool stuff in Kyiv.
I will show you. What can you say about not this event, but like a feeling of big event when you come into the big sports arena? You understand that how many people will watch your game. What about your impressions when you understand that a lot of people here and this is real tournament? Because then you sit in home, even in this competitive game, in home, at home you can relax. You can maybe talk to your friends, talk to your parents, and here you have to be so focused on the game and these people, a lot of people, a lot of cameras, a lot of light. How can you manage it?
It's actually really hard to manage it, and I think I was actually really nervous here too. And I think it is something that
You was nervous?
I think nervous is not a bad thing. Nervous is okay, but if you just need to know how you can manage it yourself. I was nervous, but if I know that I am a bit nervous, but if I just stay focused and be concentrated, then nerves are fine. You just need to handle it right, and I think it will almost not be healthy to not get nervous from so many people watching here your game. And it's something that comes with experience. If you have it done more often, it gets a bit more easier maybe.
One tournament, another tournament, second tournament, and nobody will be nervous. So maybe it helps sometimes when you realize that you're nervous and you have to like beat your feelings, and this help you to win maybe. Okay, serious question. Not so serious. Who is the most dangerous player who played all over you? Not this tournament, all of your career. The most dangerous one, unexpected.
Well, for me, it's always the matches against Colento are always really insane. Last year, he was the one that stopped me from going to the BlizzCon, and every tournament he seems to stop me sometimes, and when there's not much on the line, I win. But at the important tournaments, he always managed to win. So, yeah.
Calenta. Okay. At the moment, have your friends from the pro players that you can say that this is my real friend, and we have a communication not only on the tournaments and on other days. Have you friends from pro players of Hearthstone?
Yeah, I think our world team is actually, we are doing a lot also together. I was a week in Vienna visiting a life coach for making a boot camp before this tournament, and we have a lot of contact. We call each other a lot of times, and yeah, I also have just some. I have some good contact with just the European scene at least, and yeah, I think Hearthstone is a pretty friendly game, and I actually really like how everyone communicates.
Okay, last question. Let's take a look in the future. 1 year, second year, and you're a professional player of Hearthstone, or maybe you're thinking about another way in the life.
And what will that be? Or
In the future, you will be a pro player, or maybe you will find something different, like a streamer, maybe a journalist, maybe.
Yeah, for me, it's actually the whole esports thing is really new. I'm like 1 year now in the scene, kinda. So yeah, I'm really enjoying everything. And for now, esports is. I can see me just having fun in esports, and it doesn't be having a player, but just doing something in this esports will be my future, I think.
Because this is the future.
Yeah, this is the future.
Okay, thanks a lot. Good luck to you. It was very nice to speak with you here. Guys, можно на русском теперь уже говорить. Подписывайтесь на наши сети все, YouTube наш смотрите. Хороший парень. Всем привет. Или пока. Пока. Thank you.